integration in the remote world, redefine traditional boundaries, and create a fulfilling and sustainable career in the new world. So the panel comprises Arjun Chatterjee, Director Talent Acquisition, Sun Life Global Solutions India; Deepti Sagar, Chief People and Experience Officer, Deloitte India, Sri Lanka, Mauritius, and Bangladesh; Sandeep S. Joshi, Chief Talent Officer, Mobility Solutions, GOBP. The moderator for the panel is Uma Shankar Kandaswamy, co-founder, Senior VP, Sales and Relationships, Avtar Group. A few words about the panelists today. In this session, as Director and Head Talent Acquisition, Arjun plays a key role in devising and accelerating SLGS, Indian Talent Acquisition Strategy. He is responsible for building and leading key strategic partnership with business stakeholders, defining and leading talent acquisition charters on business models, change management, and integration. Deepti Sagar is a member of Deloitte's Executive Committee in South Asia and also represents India in the Extended Global Talent Executive. In this role, Deepti is responsible to design and deliver the best-in-class talent experience based on a culture of empathy, trust, and high performance. Sandeep has been with RIL Group for more than 10 years, working in various roles, including the head of HR for Reliance Foundation and for Polyester Business. He has earlier worked with Infosys, where he was the HR business leader for manufacturing and engineering services. The moderator for this panel, Uma Shankar Kandaswamy, is a dynamic professional and engineer with masters in public administration and has done an MDP from the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and has over 25 years of experience in recruitment, sales, and marketing. As a recruitment expert, he has an impeccable track record of identifying and recruiting top talent for some of the best prestigious organizations in this world. Over to the panel for this discussion. Kindly note, you can use the chat window for your questions.
Thank you, Janani. That was a wonderful introduction, and really, I'm really honored to be moderating today's panel discussion. This is an exciting and critical topic that impacts all of us, especially in this evolving remote work era. Today's panel will explore how remote work has redefined work-life integration, especially for women. As we all know, remote work comes with unique opportunities and also significant challenges when it comes to balancing personal and professional lives. Our esteemed panelists will dive into these complexities and help us navigate in the new landscape. We have a remarkable group of leaders with us today. As Janani talked about, Deepti Sagar is the Chief People and Experience Officer for Deloitte across India, Sri Lanka, Mauritius, and Bangladesh. And welcome, Deepti. And we have Arjun Chatterjee, is the Director and Head of Talent Acquisition at Sun Life Global Solutions, India. Welcome, Arjun. And we have Sandeep Joshi, Chief Talent Officer, Mobility Solutions, GOBP. So warm welcome to all of you for this wonderful panel today. And thanks so much for taking your time out and to be with us on a Saturday.
Thank you.
Una, sorry, for some I'm challenged, the background just doesn't come up here. So please bear.
Absolutely fine. So we need to have diversity, and you are looking in that diversity part of it, Sandeep. Thank you so very much. Thanks for being up front. So let me quickly dive into our panel today. Avatar's research shows about 90% of companies listed in the best companies for women in India offer flexible work options, including remote work and hybrid models. This indicates that flexibility is becoming a standard practice, essentially for achieving work-life integration. I would like to quote from a book called The Conversations with Career Doctor, written by Dr. Soundarya Rajesh, the founder president of Avtar. She talks about work-life integration. Work-life integration is not about striking a perfect balance, but harmonizing your personal and professional services to create fulfillment in both. Having said that, to start off things, Deepti, I'm coming to you. We all have experienced a major shift in the way we think about work-life balance, or we call it at Avtar the work-life integration model. How has the pandemic changed our understanding of this balance, especially for women in the workforce? Your thoughts, Deepti?
Thanks so much, Shankar. And it's a pleasure to be here on this panel. So good afternoon to everybody, all the participants here. It's a pleasure to talk to all of you. Well, pandemic, obviously, before pandemic, the organizations used to adopt flex working models or focus on some of these things. It was more event driven. Event could be in your life. You've had a child, you've just got married, or if there has been a bereavement or any form of personal life event would lead to professionals or women specifically adopting for a flex model, and most of the organizations would accommodate that and would have a model. What pandemic got was it converted that event-driven operating model into normalcy. It became a norm as it prolonged for so long, over 2 years. Today, most of the organizations have hybrid working. For us, hybrid is perpetual. We've announced that we will not ever ask our employees to come to office 5 days a week and work. It is all driven by the kind of demand and the work that is there. You can work from anywhere. You can work. We have 15 dimensions of flex working that we allow. So while flexibility is good and build that, but flexibility cannot be equated with work-life balance. And Shankar, what we call in Deloitte, we promote a concept called work-life harmony. We said, it is harmony. If you're passionate about your work and what you're doing, you're enjoying your job, then even if you're working 16 hours on that, you wouldn't mind that because it comes out of passion. You enjoy doing that, right? Balance is typically 50-50. And, the way life is, it may not always be 50-50. And, but what is what we're very conscious, everybody chooses their own pace. So there is no defined pace that you have to do this. You can choose the pace that you want. So, but what we saw was while we allowed flex in the beginning, flex actually had an adverse effect on work-life balance because there were women. It took away the concept of it, blurred the boundaries of personal and professional hours. So you had long working hours that were happening, and so we started drawing boundaries, and we said, okay, if this operating model is going to work, now what are the norms and behaviors that are acceptable in this working model, right? So clearly today we encourage our professionals, women professionals, they can say that, okay, I work Monday to Friday or I work Monday to Thursday, and these are my working hours. I start at 7 a.m., I wrap up by 3 p.m., or I start at 9 p.m., I start at 5:30, and everybody is aware of that. It can be in their signature, it can be in their team status, everybody in the team knows. That's how we manage that. We have published a set of guidelines you manage of what would require a meeting, what are the typical gaps you should have between two meetings. We monitor well-being as a KPI in the organization. So, we monitor people who've not taken leave for over 3 months, and then we give them a nudge just to say, why have you not taken a leave? We monitor, we have a chat bot. That chat bot will nudge you to say that we've noticed the last 4 hours you're continuously working. It's time for you to take a break for 15 minutes and stretch. So we have used technology as well to build that in, so that day to day when you're managing your work day, you get enough breaks, and we manage and we monitor well-being. That is something that we do, which is very important there. And also we have published career pathways which we can tell women professionals to say, this is fast track, this is what typically you would do, and what are the different dimensions that you can have as you grow along your career. And that is something that we really build on. But some of the challenges that women face, and our women, you quoted AvTar study, I'll quote a Deloitte study on women at work, we do is that over 50% of the women, still, we've been doing the study for the last 5 years now. It's a global study. India participates in that. And still over 50% of the women, right, the home responsibilities, whether it's child care or primary adult care, it could be parents, it could be in-laws, it could be anybody, still is only with women. In very few cases, it is shared with the partner or with somebody else. And I think it is not just work, it is the societal and the social norm also, which adds to it. And, I always say this, specifically this generation, a lot of this generation is the first generation which is full-time working by choice, right? And right from the day they would choose career over marriage, over family. It's a default DNA that you have to, so organizations have to adapt to this workforce. And 56% of the workforce today that we have is Gen Z, right? So flexibility is not just, and balance and harmony is not just driven by gender, but also by the, the entire Gen Z, that is the young demographic that is coming in. So I think what is critical, what we see the challenges that women face in remote working is sometimes that additional burden. So, what policies that you have that can help them? So, for example, we allow nanny reimbursement, nanny support for women, up to their children of 7 to 8 years of age. So that can take care of, they have the monetary assistance so that they can focus on work, and some of those responsibilities are worked through. We specifically, in the previous session, they were talking about networking forums. We specifically have training, development, and networking forums for women so that they can come in. You cannot grow into a profession just by knowing technically. Beyond a point, you need to learn interpersonal skills, leadership skills, and you need to meet people. At the end of the day, you have to meet people. So how do you manage those interpersonal responsibilities and build that? And I think organizations also have to mature. So if you have somebody, the number was about 30% of the women used to say that they feel included when they're working remote in meetings and all. Today, that number into 2024 study is 50%. So we're seeing a positive shift where organizations are also getting better at, okay, if somebody's working remote, but they still feel part of included in the work and the meetings that are happening. So we are conscious of that, of how we are building that training, which is there. And so I think those are some of the elements that have worked across to say flexibility, which is an operating model. How do you build that with the norm of building a good work-life balance, give them support, and at the end of the day have a culture which is very open and a psychological safety. We encourage women to say that, we were again discussing the previous panel, how do you say no or how do you ask for help? To say no is very easy, but how do you ask for help? And you're not just, all of us could have situations where we may not be full-time available. And I think, how do we manage that? So, also supporting that with that culture of psychological safety, empathy, and resilience. I think these are the things that we have done to ensure that how does work-life harmony is maintained amongst women professionals.
Oh, fantastic. Dipti, it's like a quick masterclass on whatever that you said. Thank you so much. So I will double click on some of the areas that you've already talked about. I will just will request either Arjun or Sandeep. Would you like to comment on what Dipti said? Yeah.
Maybe
All right.
I'll kind of go in next. Sandeep, if that's all right with you. First of all, thank you so much, Uma Shankar and Avtar, for having me over. I think it's a pleasure and a privilege to participate in this esteemed panel. And always there is so much of learning. As Deepti very eloquently put it, she's actually put in the entire 360 degree. So not sure if there is anything else to be covered. But I think I'm going to focus on some of the challenges which women have been facing pertaining to the work-life integration. I'm consciously choosing not to use the word balance, but the integration part of it in this remote world. COVID-19 pandemic, if I reflect back, right, I mean, amplified many challenges for the woman who's already facing a significant amount of caregiving responsibilities. So that's kind of amplified. In fact, everybody has been quoting a report. So let me actually quote a McKinsey report, which said that nearly one fourth of a woman population who were employed, considered downshifting or leaving the workforce entirely during the pandemic. And post-pandemic also, I think the situation has marginally improved, but not completely improved. Of course, women have taken on increased caregiving responsibility with childcare, elderly family members. As Deepti rightly pointed out, that woman is still considered to be somebody who's the backbone of the family, and they are supposed to carry out majority of the responsibilities. I think this is also leading to, or rather has led to unprecedented stress and burnout. And I'm not going to quote some media reports, but I'm sure a lot of it is already available in front of us. And historically, we've also seen through these happening in multiple other geographies. I think what the other part to it is workplace visibility. I think, with the advent of pandemic and with remote working, the workplace visibility has taken a kind of a nosedive. So people are, or rather women are getting limited networking opportunities at workplace. So that being said, I would also say that, that has led to, and these are all kind of cascading into one problem or the other. So there is a significant gender bias that kind of gets played out because everybody is expected to be on. Now, with the caregiving responsibility and the expectation to be on every point in time, with blurred lines between personal and professional lives, I'm sure, this has certainly taken a toll. And these are some of the key challenges which I'm sure the COVID pandemic has caused to a lot of women who've kind of adopted to a hybrid work-life integration. Now, that being said, Deepti did point out about some of the strategies that they're doing, and I'm going to talk briefly about them. One of the things which, and again, this is the Future of Work report published by the World Economic Forum. It said that dedicated workspaces certainly do help a lot. While organizations are providing the requisite support and the pillar, but establishing clear routines certainly kind of help amplify, or rather at least help you to kind of include your breaks. Then leveraging technology to the best advantage. There's so much of advent of technology, so I think technology plays a very, very key catalyst. Lastly, I think the practice of saying no. Deepti did point out about no. I think the practice of saying no, it's easier said than done, but setting boundaries and disconnecting is also very, very important. I leave it with that thought for now. And as we kind of progress ahead, I'm going to bring up more elements to the conversation.
Thanks, Arjun. Sandeep, your thoughts?
Yeah. So first and foremost, thank you so much for calling us. We're a very slightly different company. Our work actually happens in the market. Either we are selling, or either we are constructing a fuel station, or either we are serving coffee. So we have to be out there. So not everybody has the option of working from their place. We have to be in the field. So now what happens is that there are some people who are working in the field, and some people who are not working in the field. Some people have the opportunity of working from home. So one, it is by function for us. Okay, so that is one part. Now, when you have these two sets of people, when we talk about flexibility, the key word here is respect and trust. Because I'm out there, I'm working. Because somebody is there, may not be working. When we start with that premise itself, it's not going anywhere. Goals have to be met. Goals will be met. Ethically, they are met. Nobody should have a problem. Okay? So that stems from respect, which is why DNI is a core value for a company like us.
Yeah.
Okay? So it has to be that way. Whatever is reflective in the society has to be reflective in the organization. Okay? So that is one part. Now, the whole point is that there is a certain level of fatigue which also happens. Either being on camera or being present. Somebody's research says that if you are going to be on camera all the time, you will feel tremendous amount of fatigue. The other part is which while the corporations are more or less, people have understood. We are some 3 years, 4 years away from pandemic now. So while we have accepted, we will work from home, or we will have those opportunities. But a work from home for a man is different than work from home. Okay, so there is the we have to start educating the family members also that you don't come in. We are now mimicking office at home, so there is a boundary. So those are some challenges which we see. As long as we are all aware that these things will happen, interruptions will happen. Work must go on. Flexibility means somewhere the work definitely gets done. Very, very simple premises. So for us, it is respect, and trust. Okay? Without that, none of these things actually are going to work. That's how.
Excellent. Thanks, Sandeep. Nicely said about respect and trust. Fantastic. That's a baseline for anything and everything. And we were talking about, from myAvtar point of view, we've been talking about work-life balance, work-life integration, and flexibility. Flexibility is something that we've been talking about for a very, very long time. I always praise COVID because flexibility, the COVID taught in just 48 hours to the entire world what is flexibility and how people can be productive sitting at home. So just moving on to my next question to the panel. I'm curious, what do you think, Arjun, are the key challenges companies face in promoting work-life integration, as we call it now, especially in the context of supporting women? So just to give you some pointers, there's another finding for you to understand from myAvtar, best companies for women in India. Again, over 75% of top companies provide extended maternity leave and caregiving policies, which are very critical for women balancing caregiving responsibilities and work-life working remotely, right? So remote work opens up a new paradigm where flexibility can be a game changer for women and also for caregivers, right? So those who with the diverse needs, helping them to thrive in the careers without compromising on their life priorities. So I just want you to, give your, thoughts on these lines, Arjun.
See, I think I wouldn't talk much about what companies are facing as a challenge, because I don't speak for other organizations, Uma Shankar, but I can talk about Sun Life Global Solutions. And at Sun Life Global Solutions, I think our purpose has been to foster a work-life balance for employees. And that can focus on multiple areas, but to highlight a few of them will be to promote resilience, fairness, agility, and care. I think these are the four founding pillars on which, we kind of, I'll kind of talk through. And
Yeah.
resilience through flexibility is flexible working hours and remote work options to help our employees or colleagues manage their personal lives without compromising on their professional commitments. That being one. The other is, I think, objective performance evaluation. I think we've kind of, in a way, segued away from just a time-based performance evaluation or the shift-based performance evaluation to an outcome-based performance evaluation. I think at the end of the day, it's the outcome what matters to an organization vis-a-vis just the shift-based. Then creating a safe space.
Yeah.
Very, very critical. I think authenticity and safe space are two critical pillars that we foster, which also in a way fosters a psychological safe environment where employees can feel comfortable discussing their challenges when seeking help, whether it's related to workload or mental health or family responsibilities. I think these are areas which are of primary importance. What we've done beautifully well, and I do kind of compliment our teams across the organization in promoting and fostering a culture of employee resource groups. Or we've created those employee resource groups where individuals with similar experiences, can share and support each other, such as parents, caregivers, and remote workers. So I think these are again an important shift that we've taken post COVID. Agility in workplace. I spoke about agility a bit. I think cultivating an agile culture, a culture where you can do cross-functional collaborations without being dependent on working in siloed work culture, which allows employees to rotate and take on varied responsibility without getting overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Lastly, I think comprehensive care for employees. I think we did ran a benefit study, and I'm very happy to state that with respect to the women benefits, I think we are one of the top in terms of the benefits that we give, whether it's the wellness programs that we do, the mental health support that we provide, flexible leave policies, including mental health days and sabbaticals and so on and so forth. So those are a robust set of initiatives that we've taken in order to foster a culture where women feel I would say belonged, because at the end of the day all of this is also a part of belong to the organization, and to be able to promote a culture where people can work without any apprehensions.
Fantastic. Diti or Sandeep, your thoughts on?
Yeah. So I think Arjun has covered it fairly well. I think which is I mean, these challenges we do see, I mean, I resonate with most of them, and I think our programs are also around these. I think I will only say a lot of times, the only thing I would add is a change in mindset. A lot of challenges that women face are assumed because I think, they don't say no, or they don't ask for help, or they're hesitant to do that. So I think that part is because the moment if you tell what is the situation, I'll tell you most of the organizations have figured out there is an ecosystem which will work, and ask for help, not just at work, but even at home, right? When Arjun said, set the boundaries, set the expectations. It's also setting the expectations with the family members, or, to say, here I am available, but here I am not available, right? I think that shared priority, their career has to be a shared priority within their family. I think that is extremely important. Just it has always been there. So right behind every successful man, there is a woman, now behind every successful woman, there has to be a man, and the whole family. I think that needs to apply today. So I think a lot is also to do with mindset over and above. I would tell women that they need to be confident, ask for help, unapologetically say no, or adjust, or prioritize your self-interest first. And I think that also helps in propelling some of the initiatives that organizations are trying to.
Just double clicking on that, do you have any programs which is really concentrating on asking, or trying to bring out the best from the women? And are we really teaching them how to say no, or how to ask help? Are we really doing that in the corporate arena?
So we run programs and something. We have something called enduring human capabilities, on which we run program. Uma Shankar, and we do it for men and women both, right? Not just women, but for women specifically, when they come back from maternity leave, right? There is a program that we run over a year. All returning mothers go through it, because that is where we see they have a lot of dilemma. Should they come back full time? Should they come back part time? What will happen to them? They're scared to say no to come full time. They're scared to choose their pace. So that is where we handhold them and help them understand that it's okay to choose your pace, right? And I always say a career is like a war. It's not a battle you have to run every day. It's over 30 years. You spread it out. So 2 years if you take it easy, because you have equally important commitments, at a personal life. So there is nothing that stops that. And so I think as part of that, we do try to do it, but a lot of it is also on the job, and a lot of it is also teaching the managers and the leaders to say that if somebody says no, how do you deal with it? So, while we teach resilience to women, we are teaching empathy to the leaders to say how does all come together, and then you sort of work through it.
Nicely said. So I come to you, Sandeep.
Yep.
According to American Psychology Association,
So just on this last
please go ahead. Please go.
So whatever a good organization should have, okay, we have those things. But then the base part is if it is not in the heart, the mind will not do it. Okay, that's the base part. So you know, our entire effort is always extremely mindful. Okay, you need to keep on talking, and you need to actually, people appear to be convinced, but they are not. Okay, you redo it, you redo it, you redo it. Now, cannot escape the part that there is going to be a power difference happening. There are some people who are not in office and some people who are in office. There is going to be power difference. Now, the point of the matter that it will be, but then when you call it out, okay, we need to include more. We need to reach out. That's going to be there. The the people working from home, what happens is that my hand is raised up, but no one, people are on to their own stuff completely. If you segment our women employee population, then the young girls from 20 to 30, they need lots of confidence. How is it that most of them are topping in board exams, but somehow that number is dropping later? So they need confidence. Confidence comes from capability building. Okay, second to none. Second part is the connections part. So when you say mentorship, or role modeling, it is typically saying, everybody is wanting to support. Now, there are some people who will naturally support. Some people have to be told that you must do it. And some people have to be educated and then they get converted, but you have to keep on doing again and again. Okay. After a certain point in time, everything is good. So there is that first possibly 0 to 10 years where we need to go ahead and do that extra effort and say, hey, we need it. But again, as I said, we want to be extremely reflective of whatever is there in the society. As a company, if we don't do that, we will not make money. So there is a strong business case for us. So just imagine, somebody is fueling at our fuel station, and maybe the wife and the kids say, "Nahi, acha nahi hai." I don't know. We need everybody. Okay, so that's the base premise from my perspective. Yeah.
Fabulous, fabulous. Thank you, thank you. So I just go back to the question that I want to ask you is, according to American Psychology Association, about 75% of remote workers report feeling that they're more stressed compared to working in an office environment, largely due to the inability of them to disconnect from work. This makes strategies to prevent burnout, as Arjun was talking about, even more critical, especially for women who juggle multiple roles, right? So what do you think are the key aspects of long-term impact of remote work on women's career and their growth? Your thoughts, Sandeep?
So I'll take a step back and then come ahead. It's very difficult to detach from work when you are working from home. It is true. Okay. Just as you practice, meditation or mindfulness, possibly you need to detach. But then the boundaries get blurred. Because when we speak flexibility, we're actually talking about available 24/7, and that is not true. Okay? The balance part, at least, me as a individual, I should hold the key to it, and I have to say no. And no can be said respectfully. If people do not understand, somebody else needs to be told, but it can happen sometimes by request and sometimes by actually saying not going to work out. Okay, so that for sure. The there is certain level of stress because there are people who are integrators and segmenters. Two types of individuals are there. Even in office, you do some homework, okay, but you manage most of the time, office work, or there are people who juggle around both. And then there are segmenters. I will do this time office work, this time lunchtime I will do some pay the bills, so on and so forth. And that's the exact same part. You get it back into your work from home. There are two specific challenges. When I am a young individual, I need to ask a lot of things. Sometimes that would be a problem in terms of remote work. Now, when I'm a senior individual, I need those 3 hours and 4 hours where you please do not disturb me. And those are specific challenges at specific levels, is what I would kind of say in my knowledge.
Super. Any thoughts from Dipti or Arjun?
I just want to kind of add a few elements to what Sandeep or Deepti have already kind of iterated in the past. See, as an employee, what am I looking at? Right? I mean, what is important for me? And then as an individual, what is important for me? Because we do have and in the right statement, we do have two set of lives that we're living at any given point in time.
Yeah.
While the common cause in all the two sets of life is the human needs, whether the need of certainty, variety, growth, significance, love and connection, and contribution. Right. So if we are able to deliver, if not on all six parameters, but at least on a few parameters, I think the blurring boundaries will certainly get hardlined.
Hmm.
The other part is, it is to oneself. And I've been insisting on saying this, that the art of saying no is not easy, comes with practice. So the art of saying no should certainly be practiced, democratized in organizations, and should be celebrated. Lastly, I think as an organization, today we celebrate failures,
Lovely.
right?
Lovely.
I mean, to an extent where we have an OKR marked on failures.
Okay.
How quickly you can fail and how quickly you can recover from your failures.
Lovely.
Right? So the moment you give that kind of a messaging, see, messaging is the key. You automatically are creating an environment of safe space.
Hmm.
And the moment you create that safe space, it's not about taking things for granted. It is about prioritizing yourself, prioritizing your work, prioritizing your schedule. The key is to prioritization. And I leave it to that.
Beautiful. How nicely you talked about inclusion. What you're talking about, including failures, and that too in OKR. Awesome. Definitely, I don't want to double click now. Maybe that's for a different time and date. Yeah, Aditya, your comments.
But I think most of it is covered. I think, see, organizations are also evolving as the demographics have evolved. It is a myth to say that if you continuously are working from remote, you will lose out. You will not have the same growth in long term as what others would have. I don't think so. I think organizations also know that if you need a best in class talent, talent can come from anywhere, and it does not make economic sense for organizations to ignore that talent just because the talent is not in a particular physical location. The physical boundaries mean very, very less today for some of the organizations. So I think the nature of career paths, the paces, all of that is available, which is there. So long term, yes. Does it require an extra investment on both sides to build the connect, to build loyalty, to ensure the interpersonal development happens? Yes, absolutely. That is there, which the organizations and the employee both have to invest in a remote setup. But that's going to be the norm in the future. And probably this generation is the first generation who's testing with it. We're setting the foundation. So, as Arjun said, I like the fact, there will be more failures, but fail fast and learn. There's nothing wrong in failing. Try it out. It doesn't work. How agile are you? How fast are you moving and adapting that? I think that's what it comes to.
So I'm going to quickly, move on to rapid fire questioning. So my first question would be to Sandeep.
Why rapid fire with me first? So go ahead. I'm scared of rapid fire, but you please go ahead.
One word. How would you describe the future of work-life integration, Sandeep? I will not leave you.
Yeah, it is there. So just do it. See, it is about
One word.
Yeah, one word is ride the wave. If you don't ride, you will get submerged. Right?
Great. Deepti, what's the one habit that that has helped you manage work-life balance in the remote world? It can be.
So I have something called a productivity zone. I tell everybody to identify. I'm a morning person. So I wake up a bit early, right? And I take that 1 hour when nobody's disturbing me. I clear out all my emails. I plan my day of what needs to be done, what I need to do, what I need to delegate. And I ensure no matter what, I get that 1 hour before I hit office. Because if I lose that productivity spot, then, and I'm sure the lot of talent professionals here, they know our day never goes as planned. There is something all surprises sitting in the office once we get there. So I think I don't compromise on that productivity hour of mine. And I tell everybody, find that hour, morning, evening, whatever, that 1 hour me time at work, not me time otherwise, but me time at work. It just helps you get work done much faster, and then you get time to yourself.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. The me time is more important. Arjun, what is the best piece of advice you have received on managing remote work?
I think collaboration with care.
Collaboration with care. Beautiful. So next, I'm not naming anybody, then Sandeep will say, why are you asking me? So I'm
No, I'm saying,
what's
sleep well is all I can say.
What's the one tool or app that you cannot live without for work-life integration?
I'm sorry, Uma, can you repeat that question?
Yeah, sure, I will. What's the one tool or application that you cannot live without for work-life integration? Any one app that you want to have within your work-life integration?
I think the Apple Watch app.
Okay.
On a lighter note, that helps me take care of my personal health, takes care of my missed meetings, and also ensures that I'm on track of mindfulness, because it kind of integrates everything together. So if you were to talk about an app where everything gets integrated, because we are talking about a work-life integration, so I think that should be something which is a non-professional app, but something which kind of ties all the three things together.
Maybe Slack or Google Calendar or Headspace kind of stuff. Yeah. So the next question would be, if you could change one thing about remote work, what it would be?
I'll keep the camera off. If that can happen, because there's a camera fatigue, which always happens. The other, I just wanted to answer, that app for work-life integration. I don't, better not to use any app for work-life integration, because life is life. I don't want to measure the number of steps. I just want to run as fast as I can. I want to get tired, and I don't even want to look at calories, because what happens is that the moment I hit 478 calories, the part is that let me make 500. So it's no app for work-life integration.
Excellent. So we have questions from the audience. What advice would you give to employees struggling to maintain a healthy work-life balance while working remotely? What are some practical tips that can implement to create more boundaries and prioritize their well-being? Anyone can take it.
I just share 2 or 3, Swati asked this question.
Yeah.
See, I think first of all, and we did cover this, first is setting expectations, right? First setting expectations for yourselves to say that, I will work 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, whatever is your comfortable schedule, 6 hours a day, and what those hours are. And if your organization allows, agreeing on those hours, but also agreeing with the family, which I said at the beginning, very important. Second is, there are days which you do meetings, but there are days I suggest we should not do meetings. So we have something called no Friday meetings, and we suppose everybody can choose which is that one day, because that's the day you just want to sit, think, get work done. I think that is important. Which is there. Third is, it's up to individual discipline. Do you mark your work-life balance, right? That you have spent, every day you want to spend 1 hour on health, which is you or your passion, these many hours with family, these many hours of work. How are you tracking that? It could be intuitive, it could be in an app, whatever you're comfortable with. And do you actually sit in reviews? So I know people, professionals who actually sit with their family, and every Sunday, the family rates them on how well they have done. And, then you share that, you introspect and sort of work through that. So I think that is something very critical. So I think setting expectations, having some of these operational elements into your day to say, I will not do these certain things. And health is very important. I say this as organization, it's the first year we've started tracking health. Very, very crucial, no matter what. You should take out that 1 hour focusing, because if you're, whether it's meditation, whether it's running, whether it's yoga, whether it's gym, whatever you like to do, but if you're physically fit, you are mentally alert, you're more productive, you will enjoy your work more. So I think that is something that I think that is absolutely non-compromisable. The moment you do that, the rest of the things will follow.
I'll just add, Uma, to what
Yeah.
Deepti has very eloquently put it out. I will just use 3 words: reflect, appreciate, and plan. Once you reflect back, you will get the answers to what could have been done better. Appreciate what you have done better.
Mm.
A lot of times you get into the process of self-criticism, which certainly blurs the boundaries even more. So there are things, 90 things that you will do right, 10 things that you will do wrong. I think appreciate those 90 things, and maybe learn from the 10 things, and then plan better for those 10 things. I think these are 3 things which will certainly help you in a remote work to kind of keep yourself in the right state and spirit. And of course, health is of prime importance. So one should be focused on their health, even if that means an hour a day. It should be that 1 hour of day. It shouldn't be taken off. Lastly, I think when we work remotely, it is expected or it is understood that you're working from home, so why to take vacation days off? I think you should definitely go and take those vacation days off, because it's very, very important to detach. And I leave with those thoughts.
Fabulous.
So, my perspective is, when you're working remotely, please work as if you're working in office. You will take your break. Okay, you will take a walk and you will come back. Okay, please sleep for 8 hours, because that is where people think that they can lie on the couch and send a mail just before sleeping, and then it is like a table tennis match. If you send a shot out and somebody else is also waiting to send you back an email, so don't do it. Cut it off at some place, sleep well, and do as you are doing in office. What's the problem? Why do you want to be there everywhere? So none of us received any medals for sending out emails at 12, 1, 2. None of us have. So, and you are also not going to get one either. So just stop. And soon we all find out. No, ultimately, if it is a goal-based part, then you will figure out what's the outcome. So work as you work in office.
Fabulous. And we are at the top of the hour, and we have one last question that we can quickly take in a minute. How to keep calm in challenging situation? Hemal has asked us. Would anybody would like to just take this?
Yeah. So so one is, we can go back to whatever we see on LinkedIn, Facebook, and relate to it, and then say something. But how do you keep calm? He says that you just don't react, please. You don't react, please. If you really feel very angry, I type out that mail with great amount of anger, but I don't send it. Okay, I take a walk and I come back. These are age-old methods, available. Or you sleep. My everything, why they say sleep over it, sleep over it. I figured this out in the pandemic. Just sleep up and wake up, and then everything seems you have a solution there afterwards. So keep calm is a matter of practice. As detachment is a matter of practice, you can keep calm. No problem.
Very practical, Sandeep. Thank you so very much. Any last one advice to all our audiences who've been, patiently listening to us. Any last one advice from all of you?
Right. So, I have my method, you find yours, because none of my advice may not work for you, because I have a house which has a place from where I can work. You may have a house where you don't even have a proper corner. Okay, so you have to find your own method. I don't need to use those phones to cancel out noise, and you may have that in your place, and you may need to tell folks that you will have vessels, noise coming, kids crying. So manage. I'm not saying bear, manage if you want me to work. So
Thanks, Sandeep. Yes, Dipti, you want to say something?
I think I think all the journeys will have challenges. Men also have it all. Women have it. Always, it looks like the other person has had it easy and everything is sorted. No, I think as Sandeep just said, manage. I think that's very, very important. Learn from the challenges. Speak about your challenges, right? And be confident. Your dream, you dream big. You will achieve it. I think. But if you start with this is difficult, not happen, then it will never happen. I think challenges will always be there in the journey. You will always be work in progress. You never arrive in life. That people keep growing as they keep working through it. So embrace the challenges, manage it, and you will shine through.
Thank you. Fabulous. Yes, sir.
Lastly, I just want to talk about, and this is also ingrained in the DNA of our organization. We call it the Boulder principles, right? Biased for action, open to learning, uh, and be resilient all the time, right? I think when you're authentic, when you're biased for actions, when you're resilient, when you're learning all the time, there is no one thing that can stop you from gaining access to what you want to achieve. Again, I'm not asking to manifest, but working towards it slowly but steadily, but ensuring that you're hitting the objectives right. Again, as Sandeep pointed out, it's not like a one size fits all. You have to define your own journey, and you have to also define your end state. So I think that's something which you need to course it, and nobody else, while people will be there, but as they say, with you or without you, I'm going to attain my journey. You have to follow those prophecies.
Awesome. Thank you so very much, everyone. So, on a closing note, as we have learned and heard from the leaders here today, work-life integration is about more than just a balance. It's about creating sustainable solutions for long-term well-being, whether it's flexible policies, mental health support, or redefining career growth. The time for companies to act is now. The question remains, how can we all play a part in ensuring this becomes a reality? And thank you so very much, Diti, Arjun,
thank
and
you.
Sandeep for sparing your
Thank you so
valuable
much.
time